Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee with Kem and Hills. I know, it looks like we're somewhere new every day this week, but we are still at the boat show, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. We are still at the Steel Point Boat Show here in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Yes, it's been a windy week.
Yes.
All right, we're going to be real with you. It's been a windy week. And I'm also going to be real with you that although you have the view of us, we have the view of all of the boats behind the camera right now. And it's really beautiful out there, I'm not going to lie. So sorry. That's for us to enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, yeah. It is really beautiful. There's a lot of different kinds of boats and it's nice.
I know, I wish I knew more about boats because then I could say boats. Oh, see, boats. It's my Midwest accent comes out once in a while. I can't help myself. Because then I would say, oh, we have this kind of boat and this kind of boat, but they just all look like expensive, nice boats to me.
They do.
Some are bigger than others.
Yes.
And a lot of them are white. Mm-hmm. And I wish that they would let me tour all of them. I guess I could. I could say, I'm interested in buying. Let me have a look.
Yes, we're going to go out and check them out in a little bit.
I know, I'm very excited.
Yeah. Yay! It'll be fun.
All right, well, we have some hot topics, all of them involving millennials. Mm-hmm. Hey, that's us.
That's us.
And we're going to start with one from Wealth. Millennial millionaires are delaying home and car purchases due to inflation. Mm-hmm. And I thought this article was interesting because it did a lot of comparisons between millennials and how they're dealing with inflation and baby boomers.
Yes, which is really interesting. I actually thought it would kind of be the opposite in people's reactions.
Totally,
because the generations.
The baby boomers have lived through so much to know. Right. I thought they would be a little more conservative than the millennials would be, especially. We've covered a lot of articles on millennials, so I was kind of confused. Mm-hmm. But they are actually the more conservative of the two.
Yes.
Who knew?
And I wonder if it's I think it's interesting to note that there are more millennials a higher percentage of millennials are putting off bigger purchases and basically going into debt for homes or autos right now because of inflation.
Yep.
Versus baby boomers. And I wonder if it's also due to the fact that maybe millennials just don't have quite as much built up, in terms of assets and whatnot.
They don't have as much capital.
Yeah, they don't have as much capital as the boomer generation.
Right. They don't have as much to lose right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely could be. I mean, it is. I can't blame them. I think it's a really scary climate to be buying a home, and there's probably a lot of millennials that are in that category of first-time homeowners. Yes. So the people who are buying homes are typically people that are coming, from selling a previous home. Mm-hmm. So they, they have the money to invest.
Right.
Whereas the first-time home buyers, this is a very scary climate to be entering into. There's low inventory, as we've learned. Mm-hmm. Just the cost of the houses are exponential in themselves, and then also rising interest rates as well. So,
rising interest rates, they just went up again last week.
Yeah, it is different. If you have assets to begin with, I could see how I'd be more willing to sort of dive in, right?
Right.
But if you're, starting from square one, it's like, it's, I don't know. It's rocky waters.
Yes.
As they would say at the boat show.
Taking it nautically back.
Yeah, always. Taking it nautically back. They said 44% of millennials have delayed buying a home compared to only 6% of baby boomers. But on an optimistic side for the millennials are a bit more optimistic about how long inflation will last. Mm-hmm. So they're predicting less than a year, whereas the boomers are saying at least a year or two, which I don't know, maybe that influences them saying, well, I'm not going to wait around to, do something with my money. And if, millennials are saying that this is going to pass soon, I'll just ride out the wave of inflation until...
Yeah, and I think the article also points out that millennials think that the government is going to help fix inflation better, and
they have confidence in the Fed's ability to manage inflation.
Much more so than your boomers, which is interesting because the boomers are the ones who are in charge.
I know, isn't that what's funny?
Yeah, I mean, that's the ironic
Somebody
thing.
doesn't trust themselves, I see.
So maybe there's something to that with November elections coming up, everybody.
Yeah, that whole thing is backwards, actually. I'm like, millennials, why are you trusting them? And boomers, why aren't you trusting yourself? What's going on here? This is like, maybe that was a typo. I don't know.
Well, I think it's to your point. A lot of boomers have lived through more of these cycles than
so they know not to trust.
They know not to trust themselves.
Like, we don't handle this well.
Yeah,
we are not to be trusted. You silly, silly millennials. What are you thinking?
You naive, optimistic youngins.
So I guess it does make sense if you're feeling optimistic that things are going to change and you're feeling optimistic that it's going to change swiftly, then why wouldn't you put off big purchases until the prices decrease? Like, why would you spend more than you need to?
Especially if it's only going to be a year.
Right.
Like, you can hold out and pay rent for another year and hopefully save more money that way.
Totally, you're not really going to be missing out that much on the gain if it's just a year's worth, especially if you're saving yourself all of that extra cash that you're going to have to give out due to inflation and housing costs and all of the above, basically.
Exactly.
Yes. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back with more millennials and how they're doing in this economy right now. Welcome back, everyone. We are still in our hot topics mode. It's all about millennials today. And this next hot topic is from CNBC. 55% of millennials and Gen Zers, let's include some Gen Zers now because we've done the boomers, aren't prioritizing savings, and that may actually be smart, experts say.
I mean, I'm not an expert.
I'm sure you are.
No, definitely not an expert. But this one struck me as like counterintuitive.
Yeah.
As being a smart idea.
Yeah, I see what you mean. And also, you know who else agrees with you? Is Warren Buffett and Elon Musk. They weren't against it.
Yeah.
Granted, they have a lot of money.
Right, yeah. But I think, and it's something that we see over and over again in many of the shows here on ROI TV, the articles that we're reading, finfluencers that are out there, just compound interest people.
Financial
that we
influencers,
yes.
Just in case you forgot.
And, we talk about the value of compound interest and how it really needs time in order to really work. And so starting earlier is what helps you, build more over time. So the fact that people are holding, especially young people, right, are holding off right now on...
And even if you have to pull back a little bit, even maybe explore what you budget and see what you can give and where you need to hold back. Cause we know costs have gone up,
right?
Like gas is exponentially higher than it was, know? So some people probably do need to pull back, but I see what you mean. I mean, it's like just putting everything on halt all of a sudden. It's because the market ebbs and flows, doesn't it?
It does. And, there is always, especially during this time when the market is possibly correcting itself, we might be going into a recession. It's definitely, getting into bear market territory. But this is the time when a lot of, the Warren Buffetts of the world, talk about getting into the stock market because now is the time when things are on sale.
And Budget Dog. Our Budget Dog.
Yes.
He's been talking about that, and I've been listening. I don't know if you're following him on Instagram, but I've been listening.
It's true. I mean, he had a post the other day that it was saying how when the market's down, people are scared, but it's actually just it being on sale and the only
it's a great
sale
time
that
to get
people
involved,
are worried
right?
about. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I get it. Everyone's looking at their 401ks and IRAs, and they're saying, oh no, it is scary, but it is sort of part of, and Budget Dog was saying, he says, what is this? This happens like every 7 years or so.
Yeah, 7 to 10 years, they say, yeah.
So
cyclical.
It's part of it. It's part of it. But we do have some numbers.
Yes.
Studies have found that 55% of 18 to 35-year-olds have halted their retirement planning since COVID hit. 45% of that age group say they don't see a point in saving until things return to normal. So that is that's a high range. That's a lot of people that feel this way.
Right. I just don't know if maybe I'm just older than the 35.
I know. I was like, hey, millennials go up until 40 actually. So
thank you. But I think now is the time to also save, because a lot of millennials and Gen Zers have also been getting more cash in their pockets, whether it's because you aren't going out, you aren't spending money on vacations for the past couple years. A lot of people got the government stimulus checks.
Right.
So now is the time to put that money to work, in my opinion. My opinion only.
Right. Well, I mean, and of course it's situational.
Totally.
But if you can, it's always good to, I think, to continue your savings plan.
Yes.
Regardless of what's going on, in the market.
Be consistent with your savings. That was a Healthy Wealthy Wednesday tip.
That's right. Did you write that down? I thought this was interesting as well, because these millennials and Gen Zers who are deciding to halt their savings are planning then to 39% of those millennials and Gen Zers plan to retire later than they did pre-pandemic. So they're like, oh, that's fine. I'll make up the time
on the back end.
Which maybe your 65, 67-year-old self will be not so happy that you've done that. I don't know.
Right.
That's hard to say. I mean, maybe you'll be like, oh, okay, well, it is what it is, but
I feel like it's also, maybe it's like a tactic of procrastination too, you're just like,
totally.
I'll deal with that when I need to. And then you're like, oh no, that deadline's tomorrow. I got to figure this out. And that means you're working for 4 more years or something. I don't know.
I know. Well, okay, it did say, a bank rate survey observed that 54% of younger millennials and Gen Zers said that their emergency savings had declined since 2020. So maybe there's, a little bit of, fear involved as well. If they feel like they just don't have the reserve that they once had, and they're looking at what's happening, like when they go to the grocery store and just, in life. And so people are scared.
Yeah, people are, and it is a rocky time right now. So it's tough, and you have to do what's right for you and what feels like the best thing. But I think for me, it's one of those things that if you can, you should continue to save. You should,
and even if it's
smaller than you were putting in, at least it's something.
Yeah, if it's something. And I think that's the thing. People get really overwhelmed because say they were putting away $400 a month or whatever, and they're like, okay, I cannot afford that. Maybe you rethink it, and what if it's 100? Okay, but you're still doing it,
right?
You're still contributing,
right?
And giving yourself a little wiggle room as well.
Right. And allowing that $100 a month to hopefully grow and change, over time. Yeah. Because again, we come back to that compound interest and how it works in your favor.
It's real.
Over time.
Yeah. Yes, we are going to take a quick commercial break, but we will be right back. Welcome back, everyone. I just wanted to thank you for joining us on another episode of Coffee with Kem and Hills. As always, you can check us out on ROI TV. Where specifically, though?
On Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, or on your phone on iPhone or Android. Yes. And it has been such a special week being here at the Steel Point Boat Show here in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And, it's been fun. I'm happy to be inside today, but it was really beautiful to be outside, really enjoying the water, enjoying the boats. And it's been a memorable experience.
Yeah, it's been like a very beautiful landscape to be able to come and, shoot in. But we're not done here yet because we have the wine. True. We have the wine down tomorrow, And we might be somewhere really cool at the boat show. You get my drift.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
So make sure you check out the Wind Down tomorrow.
Yes.
Here on ROI TV.
That is right. And please, we'll see you next week for more episodes of Coffee with Kem and Hills.